former Mississippi State Bulldog on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Dicenzo, before we do anything else, I got to tell you, you're not old enough to have a son that's playing college football. This is not working for me. I'm not handling this very well.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
I believe it, and I'm sure that it has been fun for you to watch him grow up and in some ways follow in your footsteps. So let's jump in, and let's talk about the Egg Bowl. You played in the game 4 times and had a pretty good record, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. You go 3-1 in those games. Let's just start with what stands out for you. When I say Egg Bowl, what's the first memory that comes to mind for you?
Probably when I was getting recruited out of high school, and it was Mississippi State, Ole Miss. It was a battle. Who was trying to get me? And so it was a point of 1 minute. 1 week it was I committed to State. The next week it was committed to Ole Miss. I never did commit. So it was a big deal when it come down to the last second of making the decision.
So how did you get to that decision at the very end to ultimately decide that maroon and white was going to be the color of choice instead of red and blue?
Just the coaching staff, plus I had 2 guys that from my hometown, Alvin McKinley and Dennis McKinley played at State too. So it wasn't hard. Got a chance to play behind J.J. Johnson and learn a greater bit behind him. So it wasn't no hard decision. My family right down the road, 28 miles, so it was easy decision to make that decision.
Dicenzo, you had the touchdown in the 98 Egg Bowl that kind of broke the game open on that screen pass. And, of course, you guys would go from there to Atlanta to the SEC championship game. What was it like to win that game in Oxford knowing that it was for a championship?
Oh, it was big. During that, we had a chance to clinch it early against Arkansas and Alabama, and we didn't. And we knew all we got to do is just take care of the Egg Bowl, and we was in there. And I think with the great defense that we had, and JJ had got hurt, I knew when I got my opportunity, I got to make something happen for the team. And one of my favorite things is catching the ball, so it was a great call. My offensive coordinator screened out and did the rest.
Dicenzo, from a statistical standpoint, your junior season was the year that really pops off the page. 996 yards on the ground, 10 touchdowns. You also caught a couple of touchdown passes. When you think back on your career, obviously 98 was the division championship, and you go to Atlanta. That 2000 season, what do you remember about that? Because that's a year where you excelled individually, but as we talk about the Egg Bowl, you guys didn't get the win in that game in the final game of the regular season.
For me, I think when people gonna remember about me, I was the team player. I was willing to do anything to help us win, and so it was just we had a great offensive line. All I had to do was just hit the hole, had great fullbacks, had great receiver that blocked. It made it easy for me. And we had a defense that I don't know which one was better. My first 3 years, because they were awesome.
Dicenzo, not a lot of guys get to carry off the golden egg. Not in your last game, too, because that was 2001. Obviously, they had the BYU game at the end of the season. But the Egg Bowl there, you win that game. You were not favored to win that game. Eli Manning as a sophomore. But State found a way in that game. They picked him off 3 times. What do you remember about that 2001 game? That was a pretty good night in Starkville.
That probably one of the years that, 9/11, for us, everything didn't go right for us. Had a lot of injuries, and for me, a losing streak was never happened to me. From high school to my senior year, that probably my first losing season. And the crazy thing about it, I had to remind myself that I cannot let my team down, because they would have saw my frustration. And I just went out there and just left it out on the field, and especially that game, with the Air Bowl. I want for to go 2-2 in the Air Bowl. So, it was motivation for me to go out there and do what it takes for our team to win.
We were talking a little earlier about running back duos. Specifically, we were talking about the Ole Miss guys this year, Judkins and Evans. They're really good. You were part of a good running back duo yourself at Mississippi State with you and Dante Walker. Richard mentioned your junior year. That was Dante's sophomore year. Y'all combined for almost 2,000 yards rushing. What makes a good running back duo? How do you split the carries and keep everybody happy?
Oh, just compete. You compete with each other. You make each other better. We was the type of guy. I was a small 1A guy. He was a big 6'8" guy, and a lot of people really just thought for me, I was gonna back down. I didn't back down for nothing because my motivation for a small school was he can't make it. So all that was motivation for me to keep going and make things happen. So we had a great friendship, and we always had one person make a big play, the other one got to. So that was a big thing about us. We had Rod Gibson, Kenny Williamson, Justin Griffin. We had some selfless guys that did whatever it takes to make the running back group special.
Visiting with Dicenzo Miller on the Farm Bureau guest line, talking about some of his Egg Bowl memories. He went 3-1 in 4 games, winning in 98 and 99 and 2001. They only dropped that 2000 game. So, Dicenzo, you got 2 of these at home and 2 on the road, and your senior night was at home. I'm curious as a player. I know everybody likes a home field advantage, but there's some players that feed off of a road environment. So when you think about the Egg Bowl, did you enjoy more playing that game at home in Starkville or playing it on the road in Oxford?
I think both. I think my first year on the road, and it was a big deal about, I committed to stay, and State Ole Miss wanted me, and I made it. So a lot of fans like, oh, he ain't that good, and we ain't want him anyway. So it kind of put me in the motivation of, I'm going to go out here and show you why I was State Player of the Year in Mississippi. So it was motivation for me because most of the people in Wild, it was split. It was half Mississippi State, half Ole Miss. So it was fun coming back home after Egg Bowl. And people just like, man, I don't want to talk to you about the Egg Bowl, but, it was smiling about it. But, at the time of where everybody want to see you succeed. So that was a big thing for me.
This has only got a couple of minutes left here, but we have to talk about 1999, maybe for Mississippi State purposes, the best Egg Bowl ever played. That team all year came back from deficits and found ways to win. Was that one different than any other one, or was it more special?
I think it was more special because I think we had went down like almost, if I don't know, 20-0. It was some of that fact. I think I scored, got some momentum going, and all year long we found a way to win. It didn't matter. Special team, defense, get a turnover, offense. And about that year just so special, almost like 7 or 8 comeback wins. It was one of them years that was ridiculous that, you can always go back and say, man, that year was very special.
Dicenzo, we really appreciate you spending a few minutes of your time. Are you going to make the trip to Oxford this weekend? Will you be there?
Probably not, but I'm going to be watching it right here. And most of my family is split. Most of them are Ole Miss and State, so we're going to have a big crowd, but majority of it's Bulldogs. So, especially with my brother played at State too, so, it's Bulldog to the heart.
Well, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you and your family have a great time watching the game. And